Hello, everybody. Thanks for the invite. Thank you very much. So, a little bit about me. As you can tell by my accent, my roots are Eastern European. So, I've been born, raised, and fully educated in Romania. My career spans 11 years in infrastructure engineering across major infrastructure projects across the UK and Eastern Europe, of course. Currently, I'm working for Atkins Realis, one of the biggest consultancies in the world. I'm an associate director, and I think I was one of the first associate directors getting to that level in the early 30s. A wrap up about me. Thank you very much.
Okay, my name's Professor Dr. Ambassador Abnash Kaur Bains, and I'm the CEO and founder of Ishkama, which is a health and well-being organization.
Welcome to today's conference, GTS. It's an absolute pleasure to be part of this, and I really thank Jaya for allowing me to come and speak and actually make some contribution. I'm Mark Bentley, and I work as a senior lecturer at Anglia Ruskin University, based at Cambridge and Chelmsford. And my area specialism is supply chain and logistics. So I am very much a believer that education can change the world. It's what's been said and been mentioned previously. Overall, really highbrow question to this is, I really do question, where will we as humans in the future, what will our relationship be with knowledge?
Thank you so much. I'm very excited to be here. My name is Nia Cerise Bayon. I am a global international speaker, and I love education. I am the CEO and the founder of the Transform Network.
My question here for the panel here is, what is the role of educator, facilitator, mentor, and how would you define going forward in the next 5 years, especially with AI-driven technology going forward?
AI for me, in the context I come from, is, as an educator, AI is no more than a tool. It's simply a tool. There is a framework we call education, and educators, we teach. That is our job. That is our role. We teach people, okay, whether AI or whatever. But we have to coin a phrase, I think we have to be very mindful as educators or the education system to ensure that AI is kept in its correct role, that it's put in a box, and it is used for the right reasons, and I'm sure we'll touch upon it later, that it's ethically used, that we do not let AI kind of in a hierarchical role, let's be quite clear, who's the servant, yeah, and who's the master. And it worries, I'm concerned that very easily we can get to the point where we are allowing AI just to simply take over from a total, utter, ultimate education perspective. I think it's certainly got its role, absolutely. And I think our role as educators is most certainly to embrace AI. I think we need to, we should do, absolutely right. And if we don't, that's when it becomes quite dangerous. If we don't really take some form of ownership, and investing really is to act as facilitators, yeah, with that tech diffusion. I think we need to shape how students become prompt engineers. And I know of one university that I'm associated with, that they have made it mandatory that their business lecturers actually undertake a prompt engineering kind of program, of course, so they can guide students to how to use AI for the most efficient and effective process, and absolutely fantastic. I think that's some form of leadership with the institution, and I think that's right. I think we have to really accept it and embrace it and use that without a shadow of a doubt. And how to use AI in an ethical manner. I think that's most important. Until I came across a quote, something like it was, instead of teaching students what to think, maybe we should teach them how to think. Probably that is the way forward for education. That's, as educationists, that's what we should be doing. I think as AI have come along, for me, that has never ever been as more important to students. But we have people that gather information from AI, and that is gospel. That becomes reality. And they do not know how to critically think and challenge that and come to some reality, yeah, by trading that off against other sources of knowledge. More people just accepting what AI is actually producing. And this is where educators, I believe, need to take that responsibility and make sure that we are guiding, facilitating students in an ethical and a responsible manner.
I want to just start by sharing with you some of the things that AI is actually currently doing. And it might even provoke you because you may not actually know this. Currently, AI is being used to even detect pollution patterns to actually combat global warming and illegal deforestation globally around the world. It's doing it at a rate that we are unable to necessarily monitor in our own human actions and our own human ability. And this is helping to contribute against all types of aggressions against the environment. We're also seeing how AI is helping to support refugees and also crisis mapping. So these are different ways in which AI is getting involved to actually predict the displacement patterns and actually optimize delivery and translation across different languages at speeds that we cannot necessarily do in our own human ability. Is the fact that it was never meant to take over. AI was meant to sit as a co-pilot for us in systems, whether that be education, whether that be beauty, or whether that be what I do. I mentor. I love to mentor. And I can't imagine using AI to just basically take over what I do. But what I'm doing is I'm wanting it to enhance what I'm doing and to make my life easier so I can serve people better, right? Because that's what we want. And what does that look like? Okay, so I help women from disadvantaged backgrounds, women from ethnic minority cultures and ethnicities. And I want to make an app that integrates AI that can actually put women in different connection groups, which can identify their backgrounds, that can identify their age, can identify their, let's say, interests, so that they can be put in support groups, connection groups, where they can relate to one another, and then they can organically build connections, friendships, and begin to talk. So for me, AI is not actually my enemy. AI is my co-pilot. And I say co-pilot because AI is in the passenger seat for me. It's not in the driver's seat. And when we actually decide that we're going to put it in the rightful position that it needs to be in, this is when we'll see the right changes.
I'd like to come with an example because I'm categorizing myself from someone that comes from the trenches, just basically working on the projects and how to apply AI occasionally, and how this is going to impact the future. I'm currently leading teams at the time, and this is where us as mentors need to step up. We need to create that link between data and AI and how to interpret it, how to make a human impact on those, and to get the message further. I think this is very important. AI will help us a lot, and I quite see this. Just to give an example, under the project I'm currently working, they're using drones for surveys. This will save people risking their health to get into confined spaces, to get an understanding of what the quality of the project or quality of the concrete poured on site happened, which I found it very exciting to use those. Obviously, that data will be then captured and being translated by us, and then we'll come up with a solution and with a proper answer. So I believe AI will be very powerful, but we have to be careful how we wrap this up and how we empower them to ask questions as they're young and excited, but ask the question. Go in that meeting room, be bold, and connect the dots. Basically, that's what I want to say.
Again, you have to be aware as educators, we have to make sure that our students do not misuse it, that we are there to teach them what is right. Because my point is, we can't ignore this new technology, like all my panel are saying, but we have to learn to enhance it, treat it in the right way, so that as individuals, we benefit. Like my colleague said, that we are in the driver's seat, not these tools that we are using. So
first and foremost, students do not understand how AI actually works. We're talking ChatGPT, so we're looking at obviously generative AI, LLM, large language models. And quite frankly, I said, you don't understand how AI works. It works as an approximation tool. So you kind of put a request in, and it gives you what it thinks you've asked for. It's done its job at a remarkable speed, and that's fine. But because you're a very, very poor prompt engineer, you're not really giving it what it wants to get some quality back. That's number one. Number two, and this goes back to what's just been said, it is absolutely clear that students have to have an understanding, have to develop some knowledge, some epistemology around the topic and the theme that's under assessment. And quite frankly, they are subordinating that to AI and accepting what comes off the back of AI, off that printout, and that's it. And I said, the issue is, because you do not understand this topic as what you should do, having done 12 weeks with me and all that kind of stuff, okay, you can't challenge that. You are to use it as a prompt for you to put you in the right direction, and I'm all for students using AI. I promote it. I said, use AI. And some look at me to say, have I heard right? Is Mark saying that? I said, absolutely, use AI. To kind of give yourself a framework to start a thinking process to prompt you in the right direction, but use that alongside the knowledge that you should have accumulated and the material that you've got on this particular subject. And that is where students, I find, are falling down. They don't kind of get that. And that is where AI is not really being applied in the right manner. And it is up to us as educators to become more of law enforcement, police force, policing this. And quite frankly, I will do, that's my role, but it's not really my job. It's not what I came in to teach. I came in to work in that kind of epistemological area, of knowledge, of generating knowledge and create curiosity and get students to engage with this, with the learning process.
A new facilitator is coming along. What advice would you give them now to facilitate or mentor others using AI?
Fantastic. I think this is such a fantastic panel, and I just love everybody's answers, because even as you were all speaking, I was thinking to myself, with education, I think sometimes we have actually equated education with tradition rather than education with evolution. And I really do feel as though when you enter into education, you should expect for there to be an evolving that happens over time. And I really do see the harm that AI can really, really bring on personal relationships, on people's just mental faculty, in terms of just thinking. And everything that I was hearing from what you were discussing, the both of you just then, was innovation, innovation, innovation. With the rate that technology is advancing, it's actually now going to provoke facilitators and educators to innovate and elevate. And what I mean by that is marking systems are going to have to change. And grading is going to have to look very different. And assessment criteria is also going to have to completely change in all manners of ways. And the reason I say this is because AI is going to challenge the mark scheme and challenge the educator to say, how can we get people to think? And the reason why I love this is because I was speaking to someone yesterday in the House of Commons, and I said to them, I said, school taught us how to make formulas, but it never taught us how to network, how to think. It taught us how to put numbers together and give us equations, but it didn't teach us financial literacy and how to get our, not only savings together, our investments together, right? And I love the fact that now we're seeing that education is so much more than the tick box or the answer. It's going to elevate into a place where we're going to have to think. So I think that if I was advising a facilitator, an educator, anyone coming into the scene, I would let them know that it's really going to push you and provoke you to become a student again. And for me, even as a mentor, I always teach people, you've got to remember, even a leader, the greatest leaders are the ones who remain teachable. The greatest leaders are the ones who actually say, hey, I'm willing to be a student to the times, a student to the trends, a student to the change, a student to the technology. All of these things are so necessary. So what I would advise is for facilitators to not be afraid and to not be intimidated, but be ready to be like, I'm not meant to be a know-it-all, because education was never meant to be like that. Education was never meant to be, okay, I get to the point of becoming a doctor and now I'm the know-it-all. In fact, most of the doctors that I meet are the most inquisitive and the most studious individuals I've met, because they desire to continue to learn. And so what I would say is that your title is not an end location. Your title is actually a launch pad for you to learn.
That's absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. I think also it's kind of an age thing as well. I think when we look at the age profile, I think sometimes the TAM kind of theory, technical acceptance model. When you look at that as this is how do we get people to accept technology a little bit more? And I don't think that's much of an issue. We learn from our students. And I can assure you now in the AI field, I'm learning so much more and realizing how much I don't know. And I think that should make us even more humble, in my opinion. And I'm very clear that is my philosophy. And I think that's wonderful, but you put it so well, and thank you for that.
I'll be probably more straightforward and more pragmatic. What I believe, I think don't wait for the perfect tool or the perfect policy. I don't think they're going to exist, or as they've mentioned earlier, they're going to still evolve. So I don't think it's going to ever be the right time to start. I would say start now, start from where you are, start with what you have. Pause if you need to pause and absorb all the information, reflect. And the most powerful thing, in my opinion, is to connect. Just stop and connect. You're not alone on this journey. There are millions of people navigating through the same challenges as you. So this is where the human factor will interface with AI. Connect. And this is how you're going to find the path to the right answers. I also believe that it's not about becoming an expert in AI. Again, this will evolve and we will evolve alongside. But it's more about staying relevant, human, and brave in the face of change. Because this is a human being behavior, to being afraid of what's ahead of you. Also, there are teachers, by the way, my mom is also a teacher back in Romania. She retired. But before she retired, she told me she was afraid of losing her job because she was close to retirement. She couldn't keep up with the changes. And I did say to my mom, I think you're going to see amazing things moving forward. And she experienced now through the healthcare system, like, oh, AI helped basically millions of people and women to detect breast cancer 4 years before the right development. So there are millions, probably I'm exaggerating, but there are currently studies, and MIT engineers back in the United States, I heard and I read about their researches and further investigations to see how the AI can be harnessed. So I think it's also about changing your mindset as an advice. Don't get stuck. We're all afraid, but we're all here to embrace the journey.
A few words as parting comments for me, if you can start with yourself. So just a few words.
A few words. So the first thing that I would say is, especially from this panel, what I'm really seeing is that education is about to really shift. Students are going to start realizing that they can offer value to even their facilitator or their mentors. And mentors are mutually going to see how they can really receive from students. So I'm really excited about that. I really do also believe that we've highlighted the dangers as well as the benefits. I'm really excited for the future of AI, and I learned stuff even from being on this panel. Thank you so much. You guys have been amazing. And those are my last words. Thank you.
Yes, I think AI, if I started the conversation that I may come over as being quite anti-AI, absolutely not. I think the point to say is that it has a position within education, without a shadow of doubt. But I say, what is education? And absolutely, we said that education is evolving, and it's evolved for thousands of years, and it will continue to do so forever. But I think the main principles for me, for education, the framework, let me call it, my philosophy, it's very, very clear that education, as educators, we should still continue to facilitate curiosity in a learner, encouraging and motivating and supporting the pursuit of knowledge and truth through learned judgment. Yeah, I don't think that changes. So we can have AI, if that helps, if that enhances, and absolutely has the power to do, providing as educators, we make sure it's done in a responsible and effective manner. One final thing to say to everybody, this is something you walk away from, you go away and you really process this, and it makes more sense and more questions, and that's what makes it a good panel, certainly a good event, and certainly thanks for GTS for giving that platform. That means a lot more than what you probably think. Thank you.
Okay, what can I add to this? All right. This tool can be a gift for the future, or it can destroy us. So on to my colleague here, so we can finish off.
Well, I'll try to conclude it, but it's going to be very tough because you all provided fantastic insights. So I'll keep it short and sweet. And actually, I will share with you what my mentor shared with me and inspired me. So I'm going to basically read the points he made me aware of. Stay curious, foster and cultivate risk-taking and lifelong learning. You're going to always evolve if you want to do so. Embrace the change and make the most of the opportunities. Don't be afraid to fail, which was quite powerful because I'm afraid of this. It's one of my biggest fears. And last but not least, and actually was one of the themes when I've got the mentorship sessions with him, he said to empower wherever you can and have the opportunity just to empower the community leaders to share access to knowledge, because AI at the moment, it's not getting everywhere, obviously. And as a final closure, just be brave to get outside the box. It's nothing harmful over there. It's just us. And you're going to receive the support you're going to need by connecting with people. Thank you very much. And thank you for these team panels as well.
Thank you once again to our panel here.